Hi, welcome to Missouri Outdoors. I'm Mark McCarthy, and this is the James A. Reed Memorial Wildlife Area in Lee Summit, just outside of Kansas City, as we continue our trek across the state visiting Department of Conservation areas. We have got a great show lined up in the next half hour, so stay with us. For example, we'll visit East Central Missouri, and we'll join in a celebration of hiking one of the state's most popular trails. And we'll spend a day on a Missouri stream with the crew from our show to learn the finer points of canoeing. And finally, we'll visit a Department of Conservation shooting range, and we'll set our sights on safety. It's all in this edition of Missouri Outdoors, so stick around. Before we begin our tour, let me introduce you to our guide on the area, Greg Hunziker. Greg, what are we going to see today?
Well, it's a perfect day here today, Mark. I thought we'd take a look at one of our more popular fishing lakes, and also at a lake that's handicapped accessible, and maybe take a walk on the nature trail.
Well, let's get started. When we come back, we'll load up our backpacks and join a group of people as they learn more about hiking one of the most popular trails in the state. It's the Ozark Trail, and it's next on Missouri Outdoors. Stay with us. Hi, welcome back. Greg's just showing me part of the nature trail out here at the James A. Reed Memorial Wildlife Area. Greg, it's amazing they can grow trees this big, this close to Kansas City. I'll bet you get a lot of visitors.
We get about 200,000 people a year, and probably a third of those are just walking the nature trail or driving around the area in their cars looking for wildlife.
You know, Greg, this is a big area. How many trails do you have here?
We have 4 trails. Altogether, they're about 3.3 miles long. We also have plans to establish another trail in a prairie that will be handicapped accessible.
You know, a trail like this is just great for a day in the woods with the family. It's a chance for everyone to get together and celebrate the beauty of the outdoors. Every year, the Missouri Department of Conservation sponsors another celebration. And at Ozark Trail Day, all roads lead to an unforgettable outing.
In our nation's infancy, trails spanned the continent from ocean to ocean, through uncharted forests and vast prairies, across mountains and rivers. Native Americans followed trails in search of food. Pioneers formed great wagon trains and blazed a trail, taming the wilderness, farming the land, and building the settlements that would soon become vast cities. Trails became the symbol of our growing nation, and despite the hardships, there was a sense of adventure and freedom. It's that spirit that lives on in each of us and creates a yearning to trade concrete and asphalt for wooded paths. In 1977, that spirit led a group of state and federal agencies, private landowners, and trail users to propose a 500-mile Ozark Trail, a trail that would stretch from St. Louis to Arkansas through some of the most beautiful natural areas in our nation. Nearly 190 miles have been completed. 7 sections are open for hiking, backpacking, and mountain biking, with some areas open for horseback riding. The diverse geography of the region allows for a leisurely stroll or a rugged hike, and coupled with the variety of natural beauty and easy access, the Ozark Trail has universal appeal.
Everybody can use this type of trail. We, of course, have the capability of providing for the long-distance hiker, since we have a number of miles of trail, almost 190 of the miles of trail are completed right now. But it can be for anybody, the old and the young. They can do short sections of the trail. You know, you'll be able to hike for a week, or you can hike for a half an hour. So there's something here for everybody.
We built the Ozark Trail, or beginning to build the Ozark Trail with in mind to get the people out in their natural environment. And so there are opportunities for nice, pleasant day walks on rather level to rolling terrain, and also for the athletic backpacker, where you go up and down the, quote, mountains here in Missouri. We're trying to locate it in vistas where we can get a good view of the countryside, different forest habitats, just so that we include a lot of diversity.
From scenic river bluffs to windswept ridges and rocky creek beds to tall stands of oak and pine, each section of the trail offers hikers and backpackers a wide range of experiences. The Trace Creek section winds 24 miles through the Mark Twain National Forest in Iron and Washington counties. The 30 miles of the Tomsock section pass through scenic Johnson's Shut-In State Park and Tomsock Mountain, the highest point in Missouri. The Carcagny section in northwest Reynolds County will connect with the Blair Creek section, 26.5 miles through creek valleys and fields of wildflowers to the bluffs high above the current river. One of the first sections of the Ozark Trail was the 30-mile-long Current River section. It crosses creeks and shut-ins, leads through mountain glades, then on through the Peck Ranch Wildlife Area. In the Between the Rivers section, hikers will discover samples of most every terrain in the Ozark region. The 11-Point River section takes the hiker and equestrian through 30 miles of rugged slopes and flowages.
Trail construction on the Ozark Trail is maybe a little bit different than trail development on other trails, say just in our state parks. The Ozark Trail is a pretty primitive trail.
The trail is constructed, managed, and maintained by the Ozark Trail Council. Key members of the council include the Mark Twain National Forest, the Corps of Engineers, the Sierra Club, the Department of Natural Resources, and the Missouri Department of Conservation.
Each agency is responsible for the maintenance of trail on their section. But what we do is we try to get volunteer groups who are interested in doing that type of maintenance, and we have maintenance agreements with several organizations that are willing to do trail maintenance.
Today, most of the completed trail sections are on public property. The future depends on the ability to negotiate trail easements with private landowners. Still, the council is hopeful that the 500 miles from St. Louis to the Arkansas border will be completed in 10 to 15 years. So put on your hiking shoes, gather your backpack, and head for an adventure down the Ozark Trail.
Afoot and light-hearted, I take to the open road. Healthy, free, the world before me, the long brown path before me, leading wherever I choose.
When we come back on Missouri Outdoors, we'll head off the beaten path and learn why everybody in the state loves canoeing. It's the first and possibly the last ever Missouri Outdoors canoe trip. You won't believe it. It's next on Missouri Outdoors. Stay with us. Hi, this is one of the lakes here at the James A. Reed Memorial Wildlife Area. Greg's just showing us around. Greg, how many lakes do you have out here?
We have 12 lakes that total about 250 acres of water.
Is the fishing good?
Well, Mark, we've got largemouth bass, channel cat, and bluegill, and due to the way that we feed the lakes and stock them, the fishing's always excellent.
You know, I love being around the water. That's why I talked our executive producer, Al Admire, into taking a canoe trip with me on a beautiful southwest Missouri stream. Al'd never been canoeing before, and I thought it would be a good time to teach him the ins and outs of canoeing. Al couldn't wait to get in the canoe, and by the end of the day, I couldn't wait to get out.
Okay, let's see. This is the video of the float trip we did on the Elk River with the crew. We had all this video equipment in 3 little boats. What a day. It all started when Mark... Oh, here it is. See for yourself.
Hi, this is the Elk River, just outside Neosho, Missouri, as we prepare for our first ever Missouri Outdoors canoe trip. As I told you earlier, the whole crew is here, so Roy, you want to lock the camera down and come on out and say hello to everybody. Come on, guys. This is Marty, our sound guy. This is Roy, he does the camera work, and this is Bake, he's the director. Go ahead, go ahead. Anybody see now?
Of course they couldn't find me. I was busy getting ready for this canoe trip. Executive producers are like Boy Scouts. We're always prepared for anything.
Hey, Rambo, you want to put that stuff down and help me with the canoe?
No respect. No respect at all.
Ready to get going? Sure. Okay. Al, it works a little bit better if you help me push the canoe into the water.
Sure, yeah, I knew that. Mark had volunteered to teach me about canoeing Missouri streams, and now we're about to shove off into the great unknown. It made me kind of feel like Lewis and Clark, exploring uncharted lands, a new adventure around every turn. The only difference is that Lewis and Clark didn't have a video crew following them around.
I did know that. I knew that you knew that.
Little did I know what was in store for us. A canoe trip like this is an opportunity to learn. That's why I had taken the time to question one of my co-workers at the department about what makes Ozark Stream so popular.
It's, of course, the clear water. You can see the bottom, you can see the fish in the stream. You have overhanging trees, you can float along in the shade. Trees are very important to the health of Missouri streams. One of the reasons we have such clear streams in the Ozarks is because of the forested watersheds and the clear water that comes out of the springs.
I didn't know that trees were so important to the river. Oh, this is where Mark decided he was going to show me how to paddle. Just dip it in the water, he said. He was right, it did work better. As the day went by, I began to notice other things, like how a fallen tree can affect a stream.
Whenever a tree does fall into the stream, then it provides habitat for fish. What we call the root wad, the root ball, provides nesting cover for small fish, and of course the trees, when they fall into the stream, make for some interesting canoeing.
That turned out to be an understatement. There were so many great things to see, sometimes my excitement just got the best of me.
Oh, look at that! I almost fell out.
Lucky. Of course, only an idiot would fall out of a canoe. To be honest, I didn't see what was so hard about canoeing. As far as I could see, the canoe pretty much headed downstream just fine on its own. But I did pay attention. I knew what kind of force a river like this has. A fallen tree in the stream combined with the current could make for a sticky situation.
Current has a tremendous amount of power. You can't imagine how much strength the current has. I've seen it take a canoe and just wrap it around a tree, so you need to be aware. Some streams in Missouri are a lot more technical or a lot more dangerous than many of the rivers are. So you need to float a river that's matched to your ability as a floater.
And this river was just that. Shallow stream, slow moving, not many rapids. I guess Mark and the crew wanted to kind of ease me into canoeing. Nope, nothing could go wrong here. Well, not much anyway. Before I knew it, our day on the river was almost over. As we pulled into the canoe pickup, I thanked Mark for showing me the sights, the wildlife, the forest, and everything that makes a day on an Ozark stream so unforgettable. But as we were wrapping up the shoot, I noticed he seemed kind of quiet.
Well, I really had a great day, Mark. Sorry about splashing you with the paddle and hitting you with the limb, and when I stood up in the boat back there, it was really stupid, I'm sorry. But you know, the great thing was, we learned about the forest, and we learned about the river, and we learned how they work together in an ecosystem. And you know what the best thing was? I didn't even get wet! That's all, folks.
Now that was a day I'll never forget. I've still got the wet socks to prove it. When we come back on Missouri Outdoors, we'll see how the Department of Conservation sets its sights on a safe day at a shooting range. It's safety first, and it's next on Missouri Outdoors. Stick around. Hi, welcome back. We're standing on one of the newest additions out here at the James A. Reed Memorial Wildlife Area. It's a fishing dock specifically designed for handicapped fishermen. Greg, since you put the dock out here, does it get a lot of use?
Oh, we're having people use it almost every day, and the numbers will just keep growing as more people find out about the facility.
What other plans do you have for handicapped accessible areas?
Well, Mark, as I told you earlier, we're creating a prairie with a paved trail. Also, each of our lakes will have handicapped accessible fishing jetties. By handicapped accessible, I mean there'll be smooth paved surfaces for better movement of wheelchairs. There'll be close access to the water, and there'll be barriers to keep the handicapped fishermen safe.
You know, when the Department of Conservation builds an area like this, safety is the main consideration. The same can be said for all conservation areas across the state. In fact, we recently visited a department area where safety is more than just a consideration. It's a fact of life. Every year, almost 700,000 people go afield in Missouri, hunting everything from quail and rabbit to turkey and deer. With that many people hunting, the potential for accidents is high. But efforts like hunter safety education and the development of good sports ethics are helping to keep our woods safe.
One of the first things I stress to a shooter when he comes to the range to shoot, be it this range or any other range, is the safety factor of shooting a firearm itself.
David Wyatt supervises the Missouri Department of Conservation's Lake City shooting range just outside of Kansas City. The shooting range is more than just a place to practice. It's a place to learn.
The attitude we like to see is someone that's very concerned about firearms, very concerned about wildlife and conservation, and we do a lot to try to push a proper attitude. We relate to the person how they fit into the overall picture of wildlife, of conservation, and the overall concept and perception of how guns and people with guns are perceived. We work with anyone that comes out. We enjoy working with the general public, be it kids or adults, and if someone comes out with a question on shooting, hunting ethics, or sports, the staff at the range will take time and work with them on a one-on-one basis. Number one, make sure that you are a safe shooter. Your mental attitude is correct. We're out here to have a good time. We want you to enjoy yourself. We want you to think about what you're doing at all times.
When all the ground rules have been laid down and the proper safety equipment has been handed out, David then takes time to work with the shooters on their skills.
If you're involved in hunting, the consumptive sports, good use is coming out here, practicing the sport so that you can become a good shot, a safe shot, so you can enjoy the game of field and bag your game as safe as possible. If you're a non-consumptive user, we get a lot of sports shooters out here. Sports shooters come out, they shoot because they enjoy the art and the skill involved in shooting. So good use for them is coming out here being able to put a particular number of shots in the size of a quarter, maybe at 100 meters, and they have no desire to participate in taking game. The purpose of a shooting range is to give them a place to use them safely, to use them correctly, and to give them supervision in use of the range. At the Missouri Department of Conservation, especially at the Lake City range, our goal is to make the range a place that the whole family can come and enjoy itself. The key thing is we stress safety here at the range. We want it to be a learning experience, we want it to be fun, and we want you to be able to practice what you enjoy in a very safe manner. Our safety system is designed so that everyone on the range knows what is going on at a particular time. We're in the firing mode, the plates are on green. When we're on a cease firing mode, we have the people physically step out of their booths and put their plates on orange. That has them doing something to mentally and physically perform an action so they are aware of what's going on around them.
But safety is more than just knowing how to use a gun, it's also when.
One of the things that we do oftentimes, the range will get calls from ladies wanting to purchase a pistol for self-protection. And one of the things we do is try to convince them or dissuade them from believing that a pistol for self-protection is the best source. It's good, it has its purpose, but we want to be sure they know some of the basic moral and legal obligations of owning a firearm before they try to use one as a mode of self-defense. The tough thing about dealing with the general public and firearm use, be it a pistol, a shotgun, or rifle, is their perception of firearms. There's too much television where violence is involved. There's too much emphasis put on the dangerous aspect and not enough emphasis put on the safe and good aspect of firearm use.
On top of his duties as a range supervisor, David's also an avid sportsman, and when he goes hunting, he hopes that everyone remembers what they've learned.
We want you to be aware of everything that's going on. We want you to be aware of what you're doing. We do not want you to become one of the Rambo type that gets out here and their whole concept changes of how they carry themselves. So we want you to be as safe now as you are behind the wheel, because this carries as much responsibility.
Well, that's it for another week. Greg, thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to show us around.
Glad to have you. I appreciated a chance to tell more people about the area.
If you'd like more information on Ozark Trail Day, canoeing in Missouri, or any of the things that you've seen here on the James A. Reed Memorial Wildlife Area, drop me a line at Missouri Outdoors, P.O. Box 180, Jefferson City, Missouri 65102. Again, that's Missouri Outdoors, P.O. Box 180, Jefferson City, Missouri 65102. Greg, thanks again. You were a great host. I had a good time. And I hope you had a good time, too. If you get the chance this week, why not head on out and enjoy Missouri's outdoors? That's where I'll be. See you next time.